Fart pillows?
Yeah. That's how you muffle the farts.
Yeah.
You didn't know it, but all the characters had pillows shoved down their pants.
Oh,
They were wearing Depends.
yeah, gross.
That's how you gotta do what you gotta do to survive.
Yeah, if you
man.
want to live, you're going to wear a fucking diaper. You especially.
Me especially, yeah. Okay, well, we're WolfPunch.
Yes, we are.
And I'm Zane.
And he's back.
And I'm back from Italy, and it was a great time. Thanks for asking. Let's see. Kyle's here.
Yo.
Dan.
Hey.
Mike. Yezin is absent, thank God.
So you're going to enjoy the episode.
Yeah, everybody's going to have fun. He's dead. I'm just kidding. He's totally alive. Anyway, so yeah, we're talking about A Quiet Place this week. We all saw it. It's directed by, right? Co-written.
And directed by
John Krasinski.
Jim Halpert.
Yep. Old Big Tuna.
Yeah.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of Office references this episode.
There for
I'm
sure.
not
Going
gonna
to sail
get-
right over your head.
Yeah, whatever.
Big haircut, formerly known as Big Tuna.
That's right.
Jesus Christ.
Now, if only this is a video podcast and we can do Jim expressions.
That's true, because you can't do those over a radio.
I'll try my hardest.
Maybe if we had an
shoot a video.
Instagram account, we could post pictures of
Oh,
them
that's true.
online.
We
Yeah.
can all do our own Jim faces.
Yeah. Well, I think
Like
that
O
Dan
faces,
just kind of
don't we?
makes those. If Jim were dead inside.
Very fucking flattering.
Yeah. That was very rude.
He doesn't get the reference. He hasn't watched the show.
Pretty sure I don't need to for that one.
Yeah, that wasn't very subtle at all. Anyway, it also stars Emily Blunt, his wife, and they are husband and wife in the movie as well.
You looked at me when you said that like you're just trying to rub that in.
I am, because Kyle has a great affinity for Emily Blunt.
and Michael does
Hopefully
for
it doesn't
John
lead to
Krasinski.
an-
Exactly.
An affinity.
The plot of the movie is that a family is forced to live in silence while hiding from creatures that hunt by sound. So it takes place, I guess, in the not so distant future, I would assume.
Somewhere in time and space.
Yeah, somewhere in time and space. On Earth.
That's strange. Most movies don't take place somewhere in time and space or on Earth.
What?
What?
I don't know what you're doing right now.
I was being facetious.
Oh.
Mystery Science Theater reference, but okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was happening.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, what'd you think of this movie?
Zane, what did you think of this movie?
I really liked it.
I did too. I didn't love it. I think that maybe just because I've had a lot of the marketing crammed down my throat for a while, where it was
Gross.
it was a brutal process.
Yeah.
Where it was 100% wrong, and then it dropped down to 97. I was like, that's an easier pill to swallow. But, and then people had seen it before me, and they said that they really liked it. So I was pretty excited about the movie, and I went and watched it, and I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Good. I didn't love it. I don't think it's 97% good.
Sure.
But it was a good movie.
It's no Ladybird.
All right.
So what would you put it at then? If you were going to give it I don't know.
A good solid 85.
Okay.
A good wholesome.
That's not bad though.
85, 86%.
That's a B.
That's a B.
That's a B, almost a B plus.
Hey, well,
Not get carried away.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get carried away. Anyway, how about you, Dan?
Don't make any noise, Zane.
And
you won't get
never.
carried away.
Oh, god damn it. I hate everything. I walked right into that, though.
did you? I mean, was that like a big setup?
I don't know. Michael, I hate you. Anyway.
I'm used to it.
Anyways,
Dan.
I wasn't really excited for this film because it's a studio-made horror film, and I can't honestly remember the last one they put out that I really enjoyed. It was fucking stupid. I mean, a lot of the Blumhouse ones are just fucking stupid. But this one, I went to go see it, and the trailers kind of spoiled a lot, especially like the opening scene, which was kind of annoying. So I wasn't super invested. But then probably about like a third of the way through the movie, it starts up like a really major set piece, and like I was like, straight up like on the edge of my seat, and I didn't realize at the time. I was like, oh fuck, I actually care about what's happening now.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting that at all. Like I mean, there's stupid things in it, there's nitpicks, but it's definitely one of like the best like studio horror films I've seen in a long time. So I was impressed.
How about you, Kim?
I hated it. There was no Michael Scott. They replaced Tam with Emily Blunt. Like,
Emily Blunt is better.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, she's
no
a better
Pam.
actress than.
She's a better actress. That's
Yeah. Okay, I can agree with that.
but
not trying to rank women here, though. I'm just
Well, I'm
saying.
not trying to-
Okay, Mark Zuckerberg.
I personally am an Emily Blunt fan.
Oh, sure.
If I haven't said that before. Anyway, Michael,
Anyway.
go on.
But no, it was delightful. I enjoyed the movie. Yeah, it was
Cool. Wolf
yeah.
Punch.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Podcast over. For all the shit we went through to do this.
Yeah, for real. No,
Yeah, you guys went through. Fuck you.
I think that it was. I think it was really good. I was really impressed with John Krasinski. I know he's directed like random other things.
He's
like,
directed 2 movies no one gives a shit about and no one's seen.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really? I thought this was his first.
No, he directed a Netflix movie I don't know anything about, and then another movie no one knows anything about because they weren't good.
Oh, well,
It's like
then
everyone.
fuck this then. It's a bad movie.
It's the worst, yeah.
No, I was impressed by just like how competent it was, and I like avoid horror movies as well. I
You're a
don't.
big wuss.
I am a huge wuss. Don't like a whole lot of blood. Real squeamish.
Constantly afraid when you're alone
Yep,
that
all
someone
the
is going
time.
to murder you.
Exactly. I sleep with a steak knife next to my bed.
Yeah, so that the killer can come in and stab you with it.
Stab me with it. Yes.
If I gotta go, I want to go more.
You don't need to bring your own knife. Anyone listening to this, Zane will provide the murder weapon.
Yeah. That's No, you're damn right. I will.
Just told you where it is. Right next to where I'll be sleeping.
I'll be defenseless. My eyes will be closed.
Yeah. No. I avoid horror movies, and this was the first one in a long time that I was like kind of excited to see. I think we talked a little bit about it the other night, but after watching the movie, it gave me a real like Signs vibe. And
Yeah.
You love seeing signs.
sorry. Anyway, I love the movie Signs, and I feel like
Same.
a lot of people don't. And Kyle and I talk about it all the time.
Yeah. We are eventually going to do a Signs episode.
We should.
We're
I mean,
doing
why
a
not?
Signs episode.
After our 6-part Jumanji retrospective.
After our 6-parter on Jumanji. But no, it's interesting that you say that because I felt the same way watching the movie. And then the friends that I went and saw it with, because I have other friends than just you guys, believe it or not.
What?
Like, that was one of the first things that they said.
He means his cats.
Yeah, my cats went and watched the movie with me. Believe it or not, I did have to buy them tickets. It sucked.
It's weird.
But we could all share a popcorn. Anyway, done with that joke. No, one of the, that's what my friends were saying was like it had a real Signs vibe.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about that after the fact, that besides just having a cornfield, there are parts of it that do really feel like Signs, which you've said before you're not a big horror movie fan, but Signs is a movie that you and I talk about all the fucking time.
Yeah, but I guess I don't think of it as a horror film
I know,
either.
and here's what I think it is. And this is sort of the connector between these two movies and why I think a lot of people are gravitating towards A Quiet Place is because there are so many different kinds of horror movies, and a lot of them sort of target younger audiences. So there's like party rad teenagers are the main characters and stuff, and so like there are very few that like are a family focus. That's starting to like come into play now, but it's like Signs is just a story of a family during like an alien invasion. And kind of so is this movie. And I think that that's something that helps build suspense where like for me, because I'm not a child like you, Zane,
obviously
once I reached a certain age, like movies just stop scaring you. You know, like
Sure.
like when you're a kid, you can watch a movie and you're like, that's fucking scary. And now I'm not going to sleep tonight because I'm going to get eaten by a mummy or something. I don't know.
Obviously.
It was always the mummy. Anyway.
Brendan Fraser. What's up?
Yeah. Big shout out to Brendan Fraser if you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, if you want to come hang out with us, dude.
We hear you need the work. Anyway.
We're not going to pay you.
No, you can just hang out.
Yeah.
Unless you suck.
No, he's cool.
Yeah. We'll review George of the Jungle. He can be his biggest critic.
I would love that.
But anyway, like, movies stop scaring you after a while. And then, like, the best I can hope for is, like, watching it and being invested at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the biggest way to get me to do that is to actually give a shit about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was something that this movie did really well, where, like, and I think that you kind of associate, even if you don't automatically empathize with a family story where it doesn't remind you of your family, you've at least grown up watching enough, like, family movies or coming-of-age movies and stuff that, like, when you start to mesh that genre, it's almost weird that horrible things are happening to them.
Yeah.
And I guess that it works better for me in, like, Signs, where, like, Signs doesn't feel like a horror movie, so when, like, suspenseful things happen, you're like, whoa. Also, Signs is just a lot more subtle, where, like, first time I watched that, didn't expect to see an alien. Just thought it was all going to be up in the air. This
that's
movie,
got George Clooney in it.
Shut up. And so, like, with this movie, and here's a minor spoiler, and we'll just ruin everything as we go along. But,
Go ahead.
Minor spoiler is, like, in the opening scene, and Dan, you pointed this out, and it's basically spoiled in the trailer, is they kill, like, a little boy at the beginning of the movie. And I actually didn't expect that.
Yeah,
I was just wondering, like, I was waiting for a moment that I was going to call bullshit on how Jim saved this kid.
Yeah.
And
in the trailer, he's running towards
He's running.
him.
And, like, I remember watching that trailer, and I was like, well, what the fuck? Is he just going to, like, swing him out of the way? These monsters aren't scary then. Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
And then I watch it, and the kid just gets ganked, and then, like, goes to the opening credits, and I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what this movie is rated.
PG-13.
Yeah. Okay, because, like, I didn't know going in. I started to notice that it, like, really shies away from gore.
Yeah.
Like, you just see people get...
Aside from that raccoon.
Which me and Zane
raccoon
are
got fucked up.
totally fine with.
the raccoon, yeah.
Yeah, he got good.
That was the bloodiest part of the movie. Anytime a human got attacked, they basically just got tackled off screen.
Yeah.
But, so, like, I didn't know what the movie was rated going in, and, like, I didn't really know what to expect. So, like, it had a really solid opening. And I almost had a different reaction than you, Dan, where, like, I was very invested for the first 3/4 of the movie. And then there was just a little bit in the last act. And I can pinpoint the moment, and we'll get to that as we go along. But there towards the end is when I started to be like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Sure.
For me, it was the center part of the movie that was, like, the sweet spot for it. Because, like, the last act was just kind of felt like the last act. They were wrapping things up.
Yeah.
The start, it was pretty much just me. I wouldn't say not wanting to see the movie, but just going to see it and just kind of being like, oh, let's see what happens. And the opening sequence, like, it's really weird how, like, they handle, like, exposition in the film. Like, they, obviously, because they can't talk and make noise, they can't tell you what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
So the opening scene, it doesn't even really establish, like, they're trying to be quiet, but, you know, it doesn't tell you why, what's going on. There's, like, a newspaper floating in the background that says, it's sound in big print, but, like, that's kind of it. But from the trailers, you know, you see the kid gets ganked and everything, so you guys didn't expect it, which honestly kind of threw me for a curveball, because it seemed like a really obvious starting point for the movie.
Well, we're all idiots.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself. I am smart.
I mean, like, the difference between, like, you talk a lot about, like, family movies and stuff as compared to, like, normal horror stuff. Like, when it's just, like, kind of like a Stephen King situation where it throws together a bunch of strangers and they all fucking hate each other, or they're all, like, going into, like, different social cliques and, like, you know, rubbing against each other the wrong ways, and, you know, you don't really give a shit when the guy who's an asshole dies, or, you know, the one that maybe, like, the one they're trying to protect gets offed or something. You know, it's just kind of, it's different because it's a family, you're supposed to care about them.
Yeah.
And, like, if one of them dies, you realize that's going to have huge, major, dire consequences for everything happens later on. So from the trailer to how it happens with the kid in this little stupid fucking rocket ship who can't listen.
Well, no, to be fair,
The daughter can't.
the daughter is the fucking reason everything went to shit.
Well, she also can't listen. Just,
God.
she's deaf.
Damn.
How did you not get that
Yeah.
joke?
I am stupid.
what
I guess you would have told it for you.
Wow.
So
Because I've missed the laughter, Zane.
Well, the daughter gave him the other daughter or his sister gave him the rocket ship, but that little fucker went and grabbed the batteries
Yes.
when no one was looking. So that's on his little retard.
That's
ass.
like handing him a gun, but he picked up the bullets. So,
Yeah, that's like, I have a gun, I can shoot it at something, or I could just put it in my mouth. That's
true.
But no, like, it felt really...
we got a little dark there. Let's keep going.
Yeah, but it felt like a very obvious starting point for the story, because a lot of things, like, especially horror films, it's all, like, kind of, like, based around, like, a tragedy or something really dark, awful that happens, and they have to, like, pick up the pieces. So that kid getting off, I was just kind of just, like, waiting, counting down the moments till it happened. And it did. And it was honestly really fucking cool how they handled it in the movie, because every now and then they'll shift to the deaf girl's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So obviously they're not making sounds, they try to be quiet, but then when it's like the deaf girl's perspective, it's just total audio like deprivation. You don't hear fucking anything. And so like,
Which was super cool.
Oh,
no, it was a great fucking shot. Probably the best shot in the whole movie, because they're all walking single file line. It's the parents, and then the deaf daughter, and then the little kid with the rocket ship at the very end. And you just see you see the daughter, and then you see like the little kid behind her, and you kind of see like the rocket ship's like lights flashing behind you. And then the daughter doesn't notice it obviously because she's deaf.
Yeah.
But then she sees the expression of her parents' faces when they turn around. Absolutely horrified.
Anyway.
No, the deaf daughter sees like the parents' face is absolutely horrified, and she's like, that's not good, what's going on? And then turns around to see the kid put the batteries in the rocket ship, and it's making noise.
And it's lighting up.
And it's lighting up, and that's when it's like, oh fuck, this is awful. And that's, when you get the first brief glimpse of the monsters, it sets them up that they're just insanely fast and can just cover ground like no other and just kill you basically immediately.
Yeah.
So it does a lot of things. Like, it sets up the tension, it sets up the premise, it sets up like the stakes. And one thing I wasn't expecting so much was how much this movie skipped around, because it started at like day 89 after it happens out, and then it continues to like
460 something.
yeah, it jumps ahead quite a bit, which makes perfect sense for the narrative itself, because you can't pick up the next day because it's going to be nothing but grief and despair. This isn't like a Lars von Trier film or something. This is an actual like,
I don't get the reference,
Yeah.
but
most people aren't going to get it.
By the name, it's depressing. Sounds like a guy.
He just associates it with like Dr. Von Doom or something. Victor Von Doom.
For a quick reference, he directed a film called Antichrist. In the opening scene, this couple are having sex, and they're like they're on like the third floor of this apartment, and the toddler falls out a window to the
Hell
side.
yeah.
Oh, that sounds heartwarming.
Yeah, it's a fucking it's a psychological horror film. But anyways, this isn't that movie.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of
Thank
times.
God.
Fuck, it might have had some integrity. Jesus Christ. No, as much as I love this film, I still have there's a lot of caveats I still have about it, in that like it's still a studio-made blockbuster. Like, we talked about the exposition and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they can't really explain that to you that often, because there's some dialogue in the film, but it's very sparse when it does happen. But they make up for that by literally writing it on the fucking wall, where it's like, they're armored, gunshots don't work.
Yes.
Like, the dad has notes in his basement about like the monsters in the area.
Yeah, like there are 3 in the area, and then I'm wondering like, well, what is the area? And like,
Whatever.
how are they like? And we'll talk about that in a second of
Yeah.
like why I don't want to pick apart the premise.
Oh
too
no,
much.
for sure.
But they're like, I agree with you on like, again, spoilers, but like, the second that the kid died at the beginning of the movie, I knew, because this is like a big release horror movie. You can't kill any more children.
yeah, they're all good.
No, for sure.
Like, I was like, no more kids can die in this movie.
Never mind. I was going to spoil something big, but I won't.
We'll wait till that.
We'll wait. Yeah, but it's in fact, like, I don't even really consider what we've said so far to be spoilers.
It's at the very
Really,
beginning
No.
of the movie.
because one's at the very beginning of the movie, and like, and I assume that everyone comes to that conclusion after the kid dies, is like, can't kill any more kids. It's just the way that this works, because it's a.
I don't
So
know.
why does
I
that
feel
work
like
for
it's-
kids but not dogs in Isle of Dogs? You just wanted all the dogs to die in that movie.
Well, it's not even that I wanted all
He's
the
a cat
dogs.
person.
I'm a cat person, and I love dogs. It's not that I wanted the dogs to die. It's just that like,
Don't lie.
they might as well have, because they didn't do anything else after that. I don't need to go back into.
I know. I just wanted to bust your chops some more.
What I mean by that is like, this is a studio movie, and you assume that there's going to be. I just kind of was under the impression this isn't going to have a horribly bleak.
It's not going to be
Bleak
nihilistic and
Yeah.
just like beat you over the head with despair.
And
Yeah.
you basically can't do a happy ending in this movie if you kill another kid.
Yeah.
You just can't.
No.
Because after that it becomes everyone's story. Like, and again, kind of like Signs, how the family is suffering like a major loss.
Yeah.
It's actually played a lot closer in this movie because the daughter, she's feeling guilt over handing the kid the rocket. The parents are feeling guilt because they're not able to protect their child.
Yeah.
Unfathomably so, Emily Blunt is pregnant.
Yeah.
And,
That drives me
God.
nuts.
yeah, that's
Irresponsible.
Oh, okay.
There would have been a schmartian.
There would have been a coat hanger.
Oh my God!
Just-
That was graphic. I tried to keep it.
You tried to keep it mild. I'm not a
Jesus.
subtle
Okay,
man.
I'm going to try to bring this back a little bit. I did listen to an interview with the director, and he was like talking about some of those decisions, and that was actually a plot point that they addressed like early on. Is the fact like when like you look at parent or couples that have gone through trauma and lost a child, like it usually goes like one of two ways. Like they separate, they get divorced, things go to shit, or they try to have another child immediately. I mean, in the most
Interesting.
crass of terms, as a replacement, but just as like a coping mechanism
Sure.
to try and
Yeah.
fix the things. And that's what they said they were
Going
basically
for.
trying to do.
Okay,
In
okay.
terms of that, it makes a lot more sense. Yes,
Yeah.
It's
Nintendo-
horribly irresponsible.
it
It
is.
is,
But that makes sense.
People are stupid.
Look, I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense. Like, that makes sense. I could also understand it on a, like, repopulation perspective. I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying it's, like, so goddamn impractical. I wouldn't have done it.
To be fair, they did have a box, a
You're
soundproof box for
telling
that
me.
baby. So
You're telling me Emily Blunt is your wife. You're not banging the.
All right, I would do whatever she says, Zane. I would do. All right, I'm a mop. I'll do whatever.
I just wanted to be.
But
clear.
I was trying to pretend like I had a backbone here for
I
a
said that
second.
in the like most chauvinistic
I-
way. Whatever. Anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. So.
Who was talking? Was I? You were
No,
talking.
Dan
me?
was.
Dan.
you continued off of something that I was talking about.
Yeah. Just like you can't have a happy ending if any more kids die because the parents, their big thing is like, we need to protect them. Emily Blunt says that in every trailer to this movie. Like, who are we if we can't protect them? And it's like, it's a fair point. So it's just the story won't work anymore if another kid dies for a studio anyway.
Yeah.
Because then there's no happy ending, and then they're like, how do we release this? So I just knew based off of all the exposure that it was getting, this wasn't going to be that. Somebody else talk.
Well, just something that struck me as like really impressive is like the world building in this film because they had that whole time skip where it's not like the outbreak and everyone running and trying to like deal with it.
Yeah, they didn't even
early
show
on.
any of that shit.
They didn't, and they kept it very kind of like vague and minimalistic, which I really
Yeah.
appreciated
Yeah.
because
Same.
I like stuff like that.
it was a very focused, tight story about the family and their struggle. But like, it's really interesting how like they have the whole house set up with everything. They have it's in this old town farmhouse where they even have like the floorboards painted where they can walk safely without causing like,
Oh my
creaking
god! Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
forgot about that. That's so badass.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time.
Great
And
thought. Yeah.
even just like little things, how it's like the father takes his son out to the creek because he wants to talk to him and like show him some like hunting gathering
Yeah.
stuff. And they get there and the kid accidentally makes a noise and he starts freaking out. And the dad's like, "It's fine. There's this river here. It's making more noise than everything else. We can be loud as long as we're not louder than this." And it was just kind of like nice touches like this that felt like they actually kind of thought about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like where WolfPunch and Cinema Sins are different. Well, there are a lot of ways. They have listeners, we don't. Is like I'm not gonna like pick apart this concept because it's implausible. It's too easy to pick apart. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Like everything about it, like these aliens, I don't think they could ever wipe out the world as we know it to the extent that they do in this movie.
But there's a lot of caveats with that because it's such a small scale focused story.
Also,
it is a very small scales focused story.
we don't know what they've done to the world. We just know that.
Sure, we don't know. We don't know to the extent of like what damage they've done.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what if these people snore in their sleep, stuff like that. Where it's like, I'm not gonna
Pick at it.
pick at that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's an unbelievable concept, but it's fun, and like you have to accept that going into the movie. If you're not going to accept it, don't watch it. And then like when you do just like let it happen, you can really appreciate. Oh, they really utilized this concept. They had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, for sure. Like the trails of sand
The
that they
trails
would
of
walk
sand and all
Oh,
that
that was
on and
great,
stuff.
Yeah, like there were little things that like I mean I told you about that like I thought were a little weird in there where like he has a Zippo lighter and there was just like a little thing that bothered me where I'm like
It makes so much noise.
every lighter ever is quieter than that.
Even matches.
Yeah. Everything but like a butane lighter would be
Pretty
quieter
much.
than a
Yeah.
Zippo.
Yeah.
But other than that, like there was just a lot of really well thought out things. I feel like until we get into the third act, that's when
Things.
start to get a little too goofy for me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I never check out.
Yeah.
Sure, oh, yeah,
It's not
no,
to the
like-
point where it's like, oh, this is dumb, whatever. It's just kind of like, maybe to an extent, going through the motions for what it needs to
Yes.
do.
Yeah. There are parts of it to me that get like a little repetitive.
Yeah, that's what. Just last night, weren't you saying how there were a lot of monster attacks like right after another?
Yes.
Kind of got.
It felt like halfway through the movie, or maybe even a little earlier than that, there's like the whole big start of the set piece where, well, they set it up early on where there's like this nail on
Yes.
the stairway
Yeah.
going down, and they set up like 20 minutes before anything ever happens with it, and it's actually pretty great because you know this nail's hanging
Yeah.
out, you know someone's gonna fucking step on it, and they're gonna
Yeah.
make a noise inevitably, and it kind of just like stays there and like hangs and like plays with you for a little
Yeah.
bit. But like once that happens, somebody one's character steps on it, and then she makes a noise. It's really.
I've been saying
Even I
it.
cringed at that.
Oh,
Like, yeah,
I
I was
hated
like,
every second of it.
Oh, I loved it. It was so good.
But the second I saw it, the second I saw them like reveal it, I was like, God fucking damn it! And I was
oh
just,
yeah,
I was just waiting for it because I had to like
Oh, yeah.
cover my eyes.
And she like full leaned
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
She
I
really
like,
hard.
it wasn't just like a little nick that like went through her foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
She
but
put all of her weight and the baby weight on
And
it.
I have done that before. It
yeah.
ruined my Darth Vader sneakers as a kid. It was not fun.
God damn it, you're a
But-
fucking nerd.
See,
Anyway,
that's
Which-
when the movie
which-
picked up for me.
Well, yeah, that's the thing
Yeah.
because that basically kicks off like the main set piece that
Yeah.
ends up being the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Because from that point on, like it's just constant things happening after another. Like there's a brief like moment of respite after spoilers, Emily Blunt is pregnant and she has her kid. And they kind of like show like the whole process of like keeping the kid quiet. Like they have this nice little coffin they put him in that's soundproof.
Yeah, yeah.
And they poke some oxygen holes in him for him too.
little
but,
dead baby box that
Yeah,
they
little-
strap some oxygen.
They were thinking forward with that, I guess.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
that's like the only time where it really slows down because then the other two kids are out there and they still have to go out and find them. So
Yeah,
just from
on
that
the
moment
quarantine.
on, it was just like kind of nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the moment that I pinpointed that like I liked this movie but didn't love it. Is Emily Blunt has the baby, and it's just a little too much for me. Where I'm like,
So the whole thing is like, I think, did her water break before she stepped on the nail?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was right
Yes,
before
yeah.
then, and then she steps on the nail, so she's basically about to have a baby.
Yeah.
Her fucking foot is just thrashed. There's a monster running towards the house right now in search of her. So it's her trying to like cause noise distractions and get away from this monster and like.
and this is a great sequence, by the way. Like,
Oh, yeah,
This
it's
was,
great.
this was
fun.
literally the moment that like I realized I was like sitting forward in my seat, like eyes glued to the screen.
Yeah.
You know? I was like
Yeah.
Same.
fully
At,
into
at,
it.
at that point,
Yeah.
I was so invested.
Yeah.
No.
so-
It's
go.
it's great, but it does. I mean, this is where we're gonna start like segueing into like minor spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen the film yet, I would just say definitely go check it out. We all recommend it.
Yeah,
For
It's
sure.
a really
definitely.
good film.
A+.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want any spoilers, just turn this off now and then come back to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be here waiting. But there's a scene. It's actually on the damn poster of all things too, where she ends up going upstairs and hiding in the bathtub, and then it's like really graphic because like she's bleeding out of her foot and her vagina, and then the monster is like coming up the stairs, like clawing the shit out of everything.
You're 2 years old, Zane, laughing at the
God, I've missed you. I've missed having a podcast with a bearded 6-year-old. It's so good.
I like as soon as I like giggled, I was like, God damn it, what the fuck? Anyway, you're talking about her vagina bleeding.
We're talking
Anyway.
about Emily Blunt's bleeding vagina.
Yeah.
And
You just bring us down.
I know.
Oh my god.
Like, Yezin is the mature one, and we swapped him out for the least mature.
I know.
Like,
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Anyway. What are you gonna say?
But that's the part where the husband they start doing the sound distractions, and he gets like the shotgun, and they manage to like draw the monster away at the last second. And then John Krasinski's character is like running upstairs, like looking for his wife, trying to find her. And he gets into the bathtub. And he only sees like just the blood, doesn't see anything else. He's like, "Oh fuck, they ate my wife."
he said that.
It was
verbatim.
But he did it in sign language.
Yeah.
And then he did a Jim face.
Yeah. He just sort of shrugged.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's kind of like when I had like hit the moment like, oh, they're gonna do that stupid thing, aren't they? And then like it was kind of like out of Titanic.
Yes,
yeah.
where her fucking hand slaps
Emily Blunt's like
against...
bloody hand hits like the shower door, like the see-through shower door, and he's like, "Oh no, she's still alive!" And then like opens the door and she had the baby.
Yeah,
the
and I was like,
fine,
okay, that's a little much because one, I would be signing, "Bitch, don't be slapping shit. There's monsters around." But no, that was when I was like, oh, really? Like, she had the baby in the course of all the fireworks going off.
Yeah.
And so, like...
Have you ever had a baby, Kyle?
No, Michael. I will explain to you why I can't later, but no one in this room will ever give birth.
Sorry. It's a Catholic school education.
I know.
Sorry.
Like you call a stork. I didn't see the stork come into that movie. Did the monsters eat it?
No, they were distracted by the fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about world building though. I really liked the red lights to kind of warn Jim and the kids.
I have a problem with that.
Really?
Actually, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it
looked
a
real
good
stupid.
idea. Oh yeah,
it's a
it
fun
looked
gimmick.
awesome. But the fucking switch is in the basement where John Krasinski told his kids not to go.
Well, they'd go down there if they had to.
No, I don't think. Maybe they would, but. I just the switch should have just been a fucking light switch or something. Like that was weird because he literally like tells that girl, "Don't go in there at all."
And then he says, "I don't love you."
And then she's Emily Blunt's down there doing the laundry or whatever, and she has to. It's like a full you have
it's
to,
like one of those mad scientists.
put your fucking
like,
muscle behind it and like throw it. Whatever. Those kids probably wouldn't have been able to do it.
You probably wouldn't have been.
I wouldn't have been
I
able
think
to do it.
that's what your problem is.
I know, it was.
You live vicariously in this world, and you were like, well, I would have been fucked.
Yeah. No, I mean, let's be honest. I make too much noise. I would have been dead.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Oddly enough, I've been looking at the bar here. I think this is maybe our loudest episode in a long time.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Anyway. Which is funny because
It's a know, you're really slow on getting the jokes.
I'm easing back into things. I'm on Italy.
I've been in Italy.
I've been in Italy. What was I gonna say? The theater was actually the quietest I think it's ever been in a theater
Yes.
before.
So while I both loved that, I also kind of like. It was the first time in a long time where I didn't hear anybody talking.
I didn't even hear
or
crinkling or anything.
I didn't see anyone on their phone or like talking, but because the movie's so quiet, you become
very
so
aware.
sensitive to sound. We're like, I'm sitting there, I'm Daredevil.
Yeah,
All right?
yeah, right.
I felt like I could smell better and hear better, and like I could just hear.
You'll never smell better.
That actually
because I
sounds-
already smell perfect. Like sweat and cigarettes. Anyway.
That's actually kind of true because someone had like chicken wings, and I was like, I could smell them. Like, man, I want some chicken wings, man.
For some reason, I thought you were still talking about my scent. That's true. I could smell chicken wings.
Oh my
I
god.
was there. And I felt safe. No.
Yeah.
No, it was really impressive when I saw it because like there was this bunch of like shitbag like teenagers and like high school kids, and I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be cancer.
They're gonna ruin it.
But like they actually shut the hell up. It was like miraculous.
Yeah.
It was like a full packed theater too because this movie's been doing
Yeah,
gangbusters.
my theater was packed. I could hear people crunch and breathe, and I was like,
See, I went to
I
like.
wasn't mad. Though.
I had a little kid talking, but it was also kind of cute, so I was fine.
I
No.
would have fucking smacked that fucker.
Yeah.
Damn straight.
Jesus.
Be like, listen,
He's just
Junior.
being a little kid.
I would have turned around and been like, "Can
And
you
the dad
shut your
was
fucking kid up?"
shushing him, so it was fine.
He was like, you have to be quiet.
Yeah.
Those things are gonna fucking That's why he brought his child. So that he can scare the fuck out of them.
There we go. That's
when they're like, my dad did that to me all the time as a kid.
You know what they need to do when they always have those like no talking or like making noise in the theater? They need to like show the clip of the little kid just getting fucking murdered.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So shut the fuck
That's
up.
brilliant. God, that is a brilliant parent. If God forbid I should ever like get cursed and have children, I am showing them that movie so that I can just say, listen, this is why I need you to shut up when I tell you to shut up. Which will be always. I don't ever want to hear you. I'm sorry that I had you.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So, ladies, if you want to...
I'm single, and I smell like meats, cigarettes, and I don't like kids. Or dogs, apparently.
That reminds me of in Seinfeld, where George is doing everything against his like
natural instinct, yeah.
And he walks up to a woman and he goes, I'm 35, I'm unemployed, and I live with my parents. Hi, my name's George. And she's like, hi. Like it's a great
So you're
episode.
going to get some calls.
Solid.
Yeah, maybe if we had listeners.
Bada bing, bada boom. Anyway.
Never mind, Zane's getting all the tail after that one. If only they could have seen the little hand gestures for your bada bing, bada boom.
So back to a quiet place.
Back to a quiet place.
Yeah.
God, I wish this were a quiet place.
It's Fat Helper.
Jim Halpert.
Good Rev.
That's related, you just don't get it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sure, okay.
So anyway, big spoiler here. John Krasinski dies. Knew that was coming.
John dies at the end.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Anyway, that was the other thing that I knew was... I didn't know it, but I was like, after the kid dies, I was like, no more children can die.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt can't die because she's pregnant.
And perfect.
And perfect in every way. So I was like, either Jim dies or no one dies.
Yeah.
And I will give this movie credit in that, like, also similar to Signs, like, because you spend enough time with this family and you're, like, interested enough in their relationships.
Yeah.
You almost don't want any of the characters to die.
No, definitely not.
Though I will say that's another thing that I think Signs does a little better, where, like, to me, like, I don't necessarily think that this movie's strength is its family entirely. So, like, one of the friends that I went and watched the movie with hated the deaf girl. Hated her because, like...
Well, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Because...
Couldn't fucking hear.
Was it Walker?
No, it wasn't. They hated her because it's just like... She's just a child that complains, doesn't listen to her parents, and gets mad at her
Well,
parents
she
for not
can't
listening.
listen to her parents.
When you're right, you're right. And I associate with people that hate the handicapped.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. But
You're definitely getting laid after that one.
it's the whole reason why I did a podcast was for the chicks.
Yeah, obviously.
Anyway, so and I understood what he was saying, but it's like, to me, this isn't a flaw in the movie.
Yeah.
I can understand you, like, not liking the kid, but I'm like, to me, this all makes sense.
Uh-huh.
The only part where it, like, became a little too much for me was when they're hiding on top of the silo, and the one little boy is like, don't worry, Pa's gonna come and save us. She's like, well, he'll save you.
Yeah, she's
but
like
not
throwing
me.
a little fit there.
And I was like, that's a little, you're too old now to be that immature.
Yeah.
Just a little, that was a little too much.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought, like, a lot of the characterization was pretty good, especially for a movie that has very little dialogue.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's part of the reason why, like, while this movie isn't perfect to me, I'm so glad that it's becoming such a big thing.
Yeah.
Just because it's a pretty competently made story.
Yeah.
And it was great to be watching this with, like I say, I wasn't mad that I could hear people chewing or breathing.
Yeah.
When normally I hate that other people exist. I was just happy that, like, it was a room full of fucking people. And, not literally, but they were just watching the movie.
Yeah.
Because this movie demands your attention. Because you can't be looking away. Because you have to be watching. And it does a really good job of visually telling a story. And I think that's the movie's biggest strength is, like, even when the third act gets a little too repetitive for me, there are a lot of really great, like, tense sequences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The corn like silo thing.
Yeah.
Quicksand
So
finally
cool.
came into effect. As a
All
kid,
right,
I was like,
Michael.
quicksand's going to be a thing. And it was like, yeah, I knew there was a reason you had to prepare
He
mentally
was-
for quicksand.
He was telling me about this earlier.
I don't even know what to say to you right now.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah.
Every kid thinks quicksand's going to be a thing.
And Michael has never lost his childlike sense of wonder.
No,
So that meant a lot to you.
it did. Thanks.
That was a
Anyway.
really cool part.
Yeah.
But I will say, and again, because we're in spoiler territory, they really, really utilized the deaf girl in this movie in a lot of really cool ways.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept foreshadowing that, like, the
Her
hearing aid,
the gym like enhanced for
yeah,
her
like,
trying to get to work.
when she cranks that up, like, it fucks with the monster's heads.
Yeah.
And, like, when they were in the silo, I was so sure she was going to crank that shit up
Yeah.
and blow its head up.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to reverberate off the metal walls, and I thought that's what this whole scene was set up for.
Which would have been cool.
And it would have, because they had set that up
Yeah.
previously in the movie. It wouldn't have come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was previously set up, and I was like, this is the point where it pays off.
Yeah.
And when that didn't happen, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? What is...
But you knew it was, I mean, later.
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen
Yeah.
later.
Which,
But I'm glad like she didn't have like X-Men type powers where she's blowing up aliens.
No, I
heads,
agree.
though.
I agree. Like I mean, it wouldn't have worked outside. Like, I just thought the
In that-
setting was
yeah.
perfect for
Yeah.
it.
yeah, no, that makes total sense.
They would have tipped their hand too early for that, like revealing like
Yeah.
that it was specifically the hearing aid, because it's like the audience basically knows it is, but none of the characters actually have like caught on to the fact that this is what's like causing them to
Yeah.
like freak out and.
Well, because at one point she turns it off.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
I think around the point that she does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she turns it off, and see, but I'm wondering whether or not it would have been better, because I feel like the end scene of this movie might
Yeah.
be the worst scene.
You definitely know that Michael Bay produced this movie.
That's the one tell. That's when he tips his hand.
Yeah.
Where he's like, we don't fucking end the movie.
Wait. Set up the story about why we all think it's hilarious.
Okay. Well, I'll let Dan tell his joke, but I'm
Yeah.
like, to me, I was just like, Michael Bay was like, this movie has to end with a shot of Emily Blunt or whatever chick we cast, just racking a shotgun. Like, that's good. That's Michael Bay, guys. That's me. Because it is just so out of place.
It really
with
does
the rest
feel
of the
weird.
movie.
Yeah.
It really, it's yeah, no, it feels like,
It feels like a Bruce Willis movie or something.
oh yeah, right at the end. Yeah.
And in the Bruce Willis movie Looper, Emily Blunt has a shotgun.
Oh, she does actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were going to tell me to shut up. She's on a farm with a
I
shotgun
thought you were
now.
gonna make some shitty joke.
No.
Anyway.
Honestly, like I saw that coming. Like as soon as they fuck. Let's just talk about like how the movie ends. It's
Okay.
Yes.
What goes on from there. So it ends with them in the basement again, and one of the monsters is down there, and it has them cornered, but they're trying not to make noise. And then the girl turns on her hearing aid, and then the monster's head starts freaking out, and then Emily Blunt blows its head off with the shotgun, basically.
Yeah.
And the noise from the shotgun attracts the other two, or at least the other two monsters in the area, and they all come like running towards the house. It shows it on like they have a closed
Security
circuit.
cameras,
Yeah,
yeah.
security cameras that they see on there, so like they know what's gonna happen. And then as soon as like that happens, like there's no way they're gonna repeat what they just did. Like the whole
Yes.
set piece of like, you know, it's not just gonna be like the girl turning on a hearing aid and then like signing to her mom to like blow him out or something. It's like no, like it's gonna end like this is how it's gonna cut. But like if it's gonna end here, it's gonna end big. So of course like it zooms like right in with like Emily Blunt cocking the shotgun and then cut the credits. Yeah,
Yeah. It's the end shot of Resident Evil.
yeah.
John Krasinski was inspired by Paul Anderson.
It was so strange. And like part of me there was like a little bit of a chuckle when it happened, but other than that I was like, well, that was a weird place to end that.
I thought it was so goofy, and all I could think of was like, Dan told me. Go ahead.
So yeah, it was one of those things. As soon as I thought it was going to happen, I really wanted it to happen, but I knew that like it never in like a million years it actually would, unless the movie just ended up being like a big meta joke the whole time, and the joke was on us. But I just wanted like once she cocked the shotgun, when it like cut the credits, just to be like click, click, boom,
Yeah.
POT, and then just like start blaring some shitty early 2000s new metal
Yeah,
over it.
I was gonna say, you think that movie soundtracks were perfected in the early 2000s, didn't you?
I mean, yeah.
Because like I remember you telling me that, and you were like, "Just wait," because the movie should have ended with that song. And like the entire time I'm watching this incredibly non-cheesy movie, I was like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" And then it gets to that, and I was like, "I cannot believe this is in the same movie." And then I was like, "He's right though. It might as well have just blasted POD."
Yeah, no.
I mean, these kind of movies, like horror movies especially, they kind of just peter out. They either have like a non-ending or they have like a stupid bullshit gotcha ending that like invalidates everything you just fucking watched at that
Yeah.
point. And like this kind of movie, they couldn't really have like one of those fucking gotcha endings where it's like, oh, they're gonna die anyways. You just wasted the last 90 minutes. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they also had to like, you know, kind of give it like a last, like I guess, kick of energy or something to it. And I'm not saying it was a great decision in terms of like the context of the rest of the movie, but I definitely understand why they chose to do it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. 'Cause
Um,
Emily Blunt is a badass.
no one was ever disputing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't really have much more to say other than I highly recommend it for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Weren't you supposed to mimic John Krasinski's scream that he did right before he died?
Oh, Jesus. I can't do I don't want to scream.
I mean, that's the other thing. Where I'm like, I didn't think I'd be laughing at his death.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he takes the shotgun to like find his wife, but then when he goes back out to find his kids, he's like, all I need is a flashlight. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, he should have taken the shotgun.
Take the shot. I know they're armored, but it's better than a flashlight.
Yeah, like there's some trappings this movie fell into where it was just kind of like I just was reminding myself this is like a Hollywood movie.
And that's when like I automatically knew, oh, he's going to die.
Yeah.
Like, because I said, I knew like John Krasinski is the only expendable character after this point. And then like that's when I knew for sure like, oh, he's not gonna make it. And then like he has that scene where it was actually like pretty cool where he's like picking up the axe and there's the one monster above him and he like goes to hit it right when it hits him and he goes flying and then like his two kids are hiding in his truck and the little boy yells out, "Dad!" And then like the monster is like trying to get them in the truck and Jim gets up and he's like bleeding and for whatever fucking reason, he tosses the axe aside. Again, I know that he knew he was dead. If I were him, I would know that I was dead, but I would have just kept that axe for just give it an old
College
swing,
try.
you know?
Yeah.
Just swing for the fences. But
Yeah, there was. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
then he like signs to like wrap this narrative up with a little bow. He like signs to his daughter like, "I've always loved you, even though you got our kid killed. You're all right by me." Like, and then he yells, which is not bad on paper, but the yell that he gives, I don't know why it's so funny.
It's
to
almost
me.
like the George of the Jungle yell.
Yes, he sounds like George of the Jungle. It's just a little goofy.
That's two George of the Jungle references tonight.
Yes.
Yikes. No, there's definitely a lot of dramatic license with that scene where it's just kind of like, no, I'm watching a movie. Like, I understand for like the narrative purpose of it happening, but like it's just giving it like too much of a space because like they establish how like these monsters can just like rip open a barn door in like one swipe and travel super fast, yet they can't like burst through a window of like an Ford F-50 pickup or something.
Yeah.
And it gives like the dad point like a good solid like, you know, minute and a half to be like, hey, I love you with the sign language and everything.
Yeah.
Being like, you're so important to me. And it's like, I get it. Like, that's nice. You get these moments, but it's just like,
Yeah.
almost like checking your watch. Like,
Yes, you take that with a grain of salt because you're like, that's one of the moments where this really shows that it's a studio movie. And you're like, this isn't terrible. It could be worse. But there are elements of this movie that are so much better than that.
Oh, no, for sure.
And speaking of noticing it's a studio movie, was I the only one that kind of had a flash of Freddy got fingered for a second?
Yes.
When that little boy...
What?
when that little boy ran
When
into
he like
the
jerks off the horse?
Jesus.
when the little boy is running away from the monsters,
Oh, he runs into the
and he runs into the tractor.
okay.
Like part of me was like, I wonder if he died when he ran into the tractor, like the little kid and Freddy got fingered. But I'm like, they wouldn't do that. This is a studio movie. But I literally thought that during the movie.
The way your brain works.
It really is a mystery. Yeah. Wow.
I was half expecting when the daughter found him, like, he was going to be dead, like, because he ran too hard.
What the fuck?
Into the tractor.
Yep, never thought that.
Yeah, and then the dad would be really upset and come out and be like, wrong kid died.
God,
You love that.
we reference Walk Hard so much.
Honestly, we haven't done that in like 2 or 3 podcasts.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to bring that
Yeah.
back.
Time, yeah.
The wrong kid died.
We got to do it at least once a month. You know?
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's actually really apt here.
Because it does a good job of like
It's probably the
satiring
most-
a lot of movies.
It's the most it's ever fit. It's like, oh God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, final parting thoughts on whatever the fuck this movie was called.
watch
A Quiet
it. It's
Place.
called A Quiet Place.
Good, not great. Pretty good. Not bad. Can't complain.
I think
Just
that
say all of the colloquialisms.
the movie studio is probably a little annoyed that Martin Scorsese came out with the silence a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so
probably
they could
would have
call the
been
movie that,
yeah, it probably would have been a better title.
You know what? I actually had that thought as well. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
It scares me when I share a thought with Michael.
No, I think A
Good,
Quiet
good.
Place makes sense because it's like their home. It's
Yeah.
A Quiet
Yeah.
Place.
Lame.
Idiot.
Unsubscribe.
A dead kid.
The wrong kid died.
The movie.
The movie.
Oh my gosh.
That's perfect. I think we're gonna end it right there.
Yeah.
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 Like-
WolfPunch.